Welcome here to TalkFCB and welcome back to the channel here for all of the build-up ahead of Barça versus Elche this Saturday. And of course there is one big question coming into this game. Are Barça going to be able to respond? Can they hit back after the Champions League defeat in midweek to Bayern? Will there be any hangover from that game? And I think the feeling amongst some people coming into this one is, you know what? Who cares about this game now? We've lost against Bayern. We've fallen down in the big challenge that awaited us. And now, can we get up for this game? Well, I understand that feeling. I can understand the pain and the hurt following Tuesday's match. But this game does matter. This game is an important one for us, and we have to remember that, because as much as the Champions League, it's always a big priority for this club. It's a competition that we want to do well in, but we also can't forget we want the league title back. And I think especially when you look at some of the posts from Real Madrid players after our defeat in midweek, Vinicius was on Instagram, Benzema as well, Asensio, they're basically laughing at us, mocking us for that defeat. We've got to put that right. And in the one competition here where we're up against Real Madrid, we can go head-to-head and face-to-face with them right here in La Liga. And that is why this is a big game. Every single weekend, we have to be there. And we are not about to hand Real Madrid another league title. So let's get into it. Because this right here is how the league currently stands after 5 matches played in La Liga. Real Madrid still have a 100% record. They have maximum points after 5 games. And what that means for us is no more mistakes. We cannot afford any more mistakes at this stage of the season, and especially here just before an international break. That will be the worst time to slip up here. We have to win this game. And on Sunday, there's some big ones, because obviously there you've got Villarreal up against Sevilla. That's a really exciting clash. Villarreal look really strong, and they've already faced plenty of the big teams already this season. But look at that there. The Madrid derby on Sunday. Atletico coming up against Real Madrid. And I'm intrigued to see in that one how Atletico get on. It's 7 games in a row now where they brought Griezmann on after the 60th minute mark. They lost in the Champions League in midweek. They remain outside of the top 4, and they face a big one there at the Wanda against Real Madrid. But I think looking at Barça here, looking at what we have to do, focusing on our job and what we have to do to hit back after that disappointment against Bayern, because we spoke about that game and the way the game developed, and our one real failure in that Bayern match, it was the mental side of things. It was the 3 or 4 or 5 minute spell in that second half where Barça didn't stand up. We conceded that first goal and we let our head drop. We didn't respond in the right way. We weren't able to remain strong as a team, and then we conceded another and the game was out of our reach. And I think it's a good chance here to show a bit of mental strength, because sometimes after a big game like that where everybody's up for it, the motivation is there, so much energy has gone into that game, and then you fall flat, there is a tendency then there's a knock-on effect. A few days later here, playing a league game that we should on paper comfortably win, but you can't afford to have overconfidence. You can't afford here to just expect to win this game. Xavi has to pick the players up, get them ready for this one again, get them motivated and ready to compete. And I think as well, we've got to see a few changes. I think there's a few things in his lineup that he's got to do just to freshen things up that we're going to be talking about, because we've got to get that confidence back now. Back to the drawing board, work hard on improving as a team, and let's get back to scoring plenty of goals. And I do think, guys, that when you are looking there at that performance from the team and individually against Bayern, one of the big selection decisions, that Xavi made going into that game, it was undoubtedly playing Marcos Alonso and starting him in that game at left back there in place of Alejandro Balde, and of course ahead of Jordi Alba as well. Now, of course, Alonso, there's no getting around this, no denying this. He was at fault, and he was the main problem there with the first Bayern goal. He let Lucas Hernandez go in the box. You can't do that, and we were punished badly for it there. It was a poor goal to concede as a team, and it was a painful one for us, and of course for all of us fans. Now, apparently as soon as the team sort of got back in the dressing room after the game, Alonso actually stood up and he apologised to the whole dressing room, everybody there, not only his teammates there but also all of the coaching staff. He held his hands up, he took responsibility, and he said, look, I'm sorry, I made a mistake and that's on me. And apparently that gesture there went a long way. That was really appreciated there from Alonso. And I am just interested, guys, aside from that mistake, looking away away from that for a moment, what did you make of Alonso's overall game in that match there that was his first start in a Barcelona shirt? Because I've got to be honest, guys, we threw him in at the deep end. I think it was a big call from Xavi. It was a questionable one, but I do think in general, Alonso stood up pretty well to the challenge. Bayern were really targeting us down that left-hand side. Sane was constantly running at Alonso, and at times you did see a lack of pace there. You could see that he was going to be caught out at times because of that deficiency, but I think overall, he actually stood up well to the challenge, and especially down that left, he got forward well. He could have easily ended the game with at least one assist, and there were certainly promising signs and maybe an understanding of why Xavi wanted him. So of course he's got to build on that. Of course there's plenty more games that he's going to have to go into and cut out any mistakes, leading to goals. We know that, but I'm interested to know their early signs from Alonso, what you made of his performance. But I think looking at the starting lineup for this one, coming into this weekend's game, before that international break, like I say, Ter Stegen is going to be starting in goal. Now, at right back, I would start to change things around a little bit, because I would actually start once again there, Hector Bellerin at right back. He started in that area against Cadiz, didn't play then in the Champions League. So for me, I'd give him some more game time there at right back. That would then enable me to play Koundé in his more natural role. I think he does like to play at centre-back. He's doing a good job, and he's happy to play in that right-back role when needed. But if we can play him centrally, I think he'd appreciate that. And what I would also do then is rest Araujo. I don't think we need to take too many risks with him here before international break. I'd give him a rest in this game and play Koundé in his natural role, because then alongside him, I think Eric Garcia's got to come back in. I thought it was very, very harsh on him to leave him out of the Champions League game. I know it would have been a big test for him, and we would have seen how he stood up to that challenge, but until that game, he'd been really, really promising. So for me, he's got to come back in, and I would say exactly the same thing about Balde, because yes, Alonso was promising, there were good signs there, but Balde also, you got to remember, he did nothing wrong, and I think maybe Xavi was just protecting him a little bit. He didn't want to leave him exposed or damage his confidence there, if things didn't go well away at Bayern. This is a game, though, that he has to play. He has to come back in, because he deserves that, because of his form so far this season. I then think in the midfield, the changes have to continue for me, because in a game like this, guys, against Elche, when we're going to dominate the ball, we're not going to be under too much pressure. We're not going to have to try and find our way around a press. For me, there's no need for Busquets in this game. We don't need here to start Busquets every single match, and especially in one like this. So for me, let's try something else. Is it going to be Frenkie de Jong in that deeper role? Are you going to give him another chance there? Are you going to play maybe Franck Kessié in a deeper role? We haven't seen too much of him so far from Xavi. This might be an opportunity there at the base of midfield, so I don't mind there, whether it's Frenkie, whether it's Kessié, play one of them, and let's see what they can do in that Busquets role, because I wouldn't separate Gavi and Pedri there as the interior. They were brilliant, I feel. Both of them combined beautifully against Bayern. I would keep them then definitely together in the midfield for this one. And then up front, I think it is going to be interesting to see what Xavi is going to do, because definitely I would start Robert Lewandowski. I think he will be looking to hit back in a game like this, and I hope the fans at the Camp Nou on Saturday really get behind him, show support his way. I'm sure that they will, because I think he'll really be looking to respond, and I would not be surprised at all if he hits several goals in this game, Lewandowski. But do we then also play Dembele and Rafinha again, or do we switch things up a little bit in this one? I would be interested to see whether Ansu Fati again could get a few minutes, because the one thing about Ansu is, you're looking at that game against Bayern, if he would have got into some of those positions, and especially had chances in front of goal, you'd maybe feel as though he could have taken some of them. He's one of the players in the team that when he's on it, when he's really feeling good, he can be clinical in front of goal. So I would certainly look to use Ansu when and if possible here. Dembele, for me, didn't play so well against Bayern, in the way that he went about his game. We spoke yesterday, there's plenty more that he can do. There's so much more that he can show than what he did. Rafinha's another one who seems to be in and out of the team at times. Xavi, looking to start him, but then takes him off. Then he rests him for a game, being very, very cautious early on with Rafinha, I feel. So I'm just going to leave those two forward slots there open in this one. We know we got Ferran available. We know that Memphis is there as well. We've spoken about Ansu. So what would your front three be, and what would your combination be in that attacking area coming into this game? Because when we do move on to the predictions, one thing is absolutely clear, guys. You are banking here on Barça really issuing a big response to that midweek disappointment, banishing all of those demons and coming out with a big win here in the league. Important statement one to just show that we can recapture that confidence, we can hit back, and we are not going to suffer a hangover from that Bayern game. Please do let me know, guys, what you're expecting, what your lineup would be, and how you are hoping here that we end this period before the international break and then into October. And the fixture list in October, guys, it is absolutely crazy. So that is why here, let's get the win and then move on to all of that madness to come. I will be seeing you, of course, after the game on Saturday with all of the reaction. Let's hope that it's a good one and something to celebrate. I will see all of you then. Thank you in the meantime for all of your support. But until next time, as always, Visca, El Barça.